Not a lot up top, page 20 is your first page.
Sorry.
Is that in order for a reason? I'll explain that. All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us. So it's the first called finance meeting of this year. So thank you for everybody for being a part of it. Basically, informal agenda really. I just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to look at the numbers. We can make some comments, but ultimately, once we take a look at the numbers from sort of a high level, any questions can really be directed at Charles, the mayor, and James, the city clerk. So we'll just go ahead and kind of dive right into it. So the first 2 pages is the budget report. So that's going to be the money in. Across the top of it, where it says original total budget, current total budget, then you've got period activity, that's through February. Physical activity, that's through October 1st, and then percent used, that's basically where we're at in the year compared to the budget, so that number should be approximately right around 42%. So as you're running down the far right-hand side, any number that is out of whack, either south of 42 or north of 42, is something you should kind of direct your attention to. All right, so moving forward into the third page, which is page 20. I like the way Patricia ran this off because what it's going to do for you is it's going to give you a high level of that particular group, and then when you flip to the next page, the pages are going to fall back in line, and you're going to have kind of a granular grass level view of that particular area, and then it's going to repeat again. So you've got sort of the 50,000 foot altitude, then you've got sort of a real granular approach to it. So I think this might be some of the information a lot of us have been looking for as far as what is where and what part of the budget it's in. So that's really the breakdown of that. Any questions on the flow thus far of the report? John, Steve? We good? Okay, cool. So like I was saying with the mayor when we met on this and kind of went through it, the first 2 pages, obviously the money in, that's where we are getting our budget from. We calculate how much money we can spend on how much money we're going to get in. There, as you can see there are some totals on the far right hand side that are well south of 42, which means we have not gotten in the money that we should have trended to get by now. Now some of these categories like ad valorem, those are going to be, that number is a little higher than 42% because those are more front loaded at the beginning of the year. So that number should be out of line with 42. You start looking at businesses licenses running at 79% of funds collected. Kind of a similar situation there. So there are good reasons for some of these numbers to be out of whack. Then you have some other numbers that are south of 42. So that means that basically we're missing money that we kind of figured we would have by now, unless there is another reason where maybe it comes in towards the end of the year. So that's kind of that. As I look through the various other budget reports, administrative, public works, fire, police, all that good stuff, the top right-hand corner, there's a percentage of that as well. Like I say on page 20, top right percent used for administrative, 47%. So that's kind of the number I focused on as I was going through this report. And then I would also go through the kind of granular level there to kind of see what was driving that larger roll-up number. So I don't really necessarily have any questions for the mayor or James. I just wanted you guys to have an opportunity to take a look at everything and see what questions you guys might have. And then Mayor, if you could maybe report on some of the other things that you know we have hanging over our head. So with that, I'll turn the meeting over to you.
Okay. James and I went through with all the department heads on their expenditure side, and each of the departments were fairly on target. Would you say, James? Yes. Fluctuate maybe 1% or 2%, but for this point of the year, they were all very close to the 42% mark, where you should be through February. So I felt good. I think we all felt good about that. I think the department heads did as well. Did not mean that there were lines that were out of whack, individual lines. Some were off one way, some were off another way. bottom line, which is what we were looking for, was pretty much on target for expenditures for each of the departments. I think the one department that was a little bit over was admin, if I remember correctly, it was about 46% or something like that.
Yes.
And there were some front-loaded expenditures on that, James, if you might.
Yes, we have quite a few one-time expenses that takes place at the beginning of the year. One of them is workers' compensation. That's due on the 1st of February. It's $370,000. We also have our property and casualty premium is due at the same time. It's about $136,000 of the $270,000 that we have to owe. That's on the front part of that. And also we have to pay the Jefferson County Personnel Board, and their fee was $136,000, but that was at the beginning of January. So the admin may be a little bit over the 42% because the way that it's structured, we have some large one-time expenses that takes place in either December, January, or February. But once you get towards September the 30th, they kind of play themselves out and level out percentage-wise.
The other couple of things I would mention to you, one on the expenditure side, we know that we have a couple of big expenditures, which we'll talk about later tonight, that were non-budgeted. They are going to amount to about at least $1.2 million. So those are non-budgeted expenditures that we anticipate will be paid out this fiscal year. So if we're on target right now, that's a shortfall of that much that we're looking for going forward through the rest of the year. We will have to address that. We'll have to look at how that is handled, whether it's, well, whichever way it's handled or however it's handled. My other slight reservation on the budget is just the revenue. We're projected a little bit above 42% on the total revenue right now. But keeping in mind that the bulk of some of the big categories, business licenses, for example, and loan taxes, even the big block of sales tax would be January, is already on the books. And so while we're 4 or 5% up on revenue, I don't have enough of a track record and an intuitive feel for, is that enough to carry us through the rest of the year? My guess is it's going to be very tight, if not short, on the revenue side. Just again. So if you've got specific questions, Mayor James will try to respond to those.
Have you really dug into it to see where those shortfalls may be, or what can we cut maybe at the time?
Well,
make up some of them.
yeah, it's the same thing I've been saying since at least January, November, December. Anything that you pass that is discretionary is one of those areas that you can make a decision either not to approve it or to reduce it. And so if you want to look at things that you've recently done, just as examples of that, I would say any of the festival expense that you've approved, the education expense that you've approved, the I think the Jazz in the Park, I think you all did this last time. Any of those things you got one on the agenda tonight, parks and land design
Master parking plan.
My point on that is simply that if you allocate and spend all of your discretionary funding in the first 6 months of the year, it's going to be really hard to go the back 6 months of it. So August and September, you're going to be scrambling to figure out, because there's some things you can't cut. So you need to be looking at the things that there is that option to either reduce, eliminate, or at least delay until you know that you're going to have that support. So that's what I would say to you. Do you have anything to
Yes, I would just recommend that you look at the spending plan. One of the areas that was pretty much at the council's discretion is the new initiatives. We have about $200,000 that we budgeted for new initiatives. Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to spend $200,000, but it's there. 97% of our expenses are fixed. Employee benefits are around 10 million. Our bond debt is around 4.3. The rest of them are contractual obligations that we have that we can't get out of. We have to pay for our utilities, our water, power, phone. We only have about 3% out of the 18 million that is truly discretionary funds or flexible funds. So I would suggest that the council look at those flexible line items. We will be halfway through the year in March. So we will be 50% through this current spending plan here. And I think it will be helpful at that time that we have another meeting for the council to be able to identify some of those areas that you may want to reduce.
See if we can move some things around to plug some other holes, basically. To fund some other things that might be running slim. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, at the end of the day, we're trying to just work with the 18.5. I think it rounds off to about 18.5. So you're right, Councilman Spivey. If we want to be able to spend in different places, there's no extra money to add to it. We don't have a money tree back there in Public Works.
Come on now.
We're not the federal government, we're the local government. So we just have to adjust the line items to be able to make them fit. One of the things that the mayor mentioned is about his concerns about the revenue, and he did ask me about that. And I did respond to him to let him know that I'm concerned about that as well, because the economy is slowing.
Yeah.
And our tax collections for the month of February were off from where they should have been compared to last year.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some concerns about the economy slowing with sales and use tax, and because we've already got most of our taxes in, but I did go back and create a monthly budget to try to match the revenue with the expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And by matching the revenue with the expenses, at the current time, we are still $500,000 more in revenue than we have with expenses, even when you match all of those one-time items to the one-time revenues.
So there's not hardly anything that we can do, there's hardly anything that we can do about revenue. I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. What we control to a small degree is the expenditure side of it.
But looking at the revenue side, just a couple of questions. So like if you go to the very, very back page of that, the bottom line of that second page, you start looking at things like, we're worried about the money in. I know one question I had, operating transfer in, 500 grand, nothing collected as of today. Proceeds of loans as an asset, 714 with 0% in. So there's a couple of big ticket items like that we have our budget based around, that at this time we haven't received any revenue from. So I guess the question would be, where are those numbers coming from, and are those figures going to be the ones that kind of come in at the back end of the year?
Well, the $714,000 that you mentioned,
Yeah.
that is the loan that the city provided to Phoenix Water
Okay.
LLC.
Mm-hmm.
So they are supposed to pay that to the city by May.
Gotcha.
So that should be
Take care of that.
satisfied during that time.
Okay.
The operating transfer ins are funds that come in from other funds that we have in the city.
Okay.
If we need to reimburse the general funds for some of the expenses that is paid for other funds, we have about 8 different other funds, from capital project fund, E911,
Okay.
gas tax 4 and 5, and gas tax 7, the water fund, the court corrections fund, and the
Okay.
police drug forfeiture. So sometimes expenses are paid out of the general fund, and those funds reimburse the general fund for those expenses. So that's where the figure for the operating transfer in
Mm-hmm.
would be used if funds are transferred in from those other funds.
Fair enough.
And as we look at
things like utilities. Have we taken advantage of those things that the companies offer to help us reduce our utility footprint? Like the power company will look at your energy consumption and make suggestions on different things. That we consolidated bills and done all the things we can to reduce our utility costs or things like that. And low hanging fruit that we got potential.
Those are some things that we can look at kind of.
It may not come to fruition by the end of the year, fiscal year. That's okay. I'm sure you're just.
Yes, well, I know one of the things in the past, we've tried to consolidate all of our power bills because the city has so many different bills and, you know, in so many different places. I mean, I know a lot of times people come in and they say, well, can I get a street light? And if we give them a street light, but the city pays about $20,000 in street lights, you know, a month. So those are some of the things that I think would be a good recommendation for maybe the Public Works Committee to explore that with Frank Pennington and the mayor.
Probably Joe, I know you're just coming in and everything.
Yeah, and I apologize.
No, you're fine, man. Hey,
I didn't get a reminder. Can we get reminders, Pat? Can Pat send us reminders?
So,
You talking about Patricia?
Yeah, Patricia, I'm sorry. What did I say?
so,
Did I say Pat?
Yeah, and I don't know, didn't you send out the agenda and stuff?
Yeah, I sent out the work session.
Yeah, oh, okay, okay.
so I'll give you a chance real quick to take
It's been-
a.
What's that,
I
man?
thought you did, send it out.
Yeah, yes, it was a part
When
of
you
it.
get that email, that's a reminder.
I got it, I got it.
All right,
Believe me, I got it.
we're short on time. This is getting ready to kind of come to an end here in a
Just need an
moment.
admin like you.
So what I want to do is I would just give you an opportunity to take a look at the handout you got there. Is your first page number 20 down on the bottom right?
It is.
Okay, so what that's going to do for you, I'll just repeat myself real quick. That first page, 20, is sort of a high-level view of that category. And then when you flip to the next page, which will take you to number 3, that's a breakdown of that particular bucket. And it just kind of moves through that. Did you get a copy of the income side, the annual, the budget report,
Yeah.
account summary, the income? It's a 2-pager. I just wanted to see.
I'll go through here and
Okay.
see. I noticed each department is broke down.
Yep,
Which, like it used to be,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the revenue side is on here.
I just wanted to give you an opportunity, if you had a quick observation, just to go
I
ahead and
haven't
fire a
looked at
question.
it.
Fair enough.
But
Okay.
James did send it to us. I looked at one previously that I asked him for
Okay.
earlier, and I think it was dated 2/28, yeah.
Gotcha.
So, I've skimmed through it. If I have any questions, I can send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mayor, any questions that I have not asked that I should be? Or anything you want to talk about?
I think it's pretty much covers this, unless there's any question for Bill. I have another separate comment when you're done with this.
Any final questions for Mayor?
I do.
Okay.
I do have a follow-up for you,
Okay.
because as far as the budget is concerned, I think, and this may have already been mentioned, but we need more than 30 minutes just to go over this
Oh, I agree.
and just see what's,
Yeah.
what's going on, where we are in our budget,
Mm-hmm.
what's the percentage ratio, where we are as far as the percent used, as far as the revenues
Mm-hmm.
on that particular line item. So
That's
we
fine.
need a little bit more time.
That's fine, and I can appreciate that. I wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to kind of all get together when we were already getting together. So I wanted to maximize our time with that, but I agree with you. And James made a comment, as we get closer to the 6th month,
Mhm.
we would definitely need to have another meeting, because we're already knocking on that door. Have another meeting here towards maybe the end of March, and see where we're at the middle of the year, and see if we need to move some money around from some buckets that we haven't spent money out of, to maybe fill some gaps in some other ones. That'll definitely be a more intense meeting. But take a look at the documentation and see, if there's any follow-up questions, we can always chat about it. Any other questions?
No,
Before you give
I
the
haven't
mayor.
looked through it, but I'm pretty sure I have some.
Sure, fair enough. Steve? John? You good? All right, Mayor, go for it.
Okay, so I want to call a work session to update you on a couple of things that we need to spend a little more time and a short one here. So I'm wondering if you are available next Monday or Tuesday. for a work session. I want to give you an update. I want to have Sane and Associates, our engineers, come in and give you an update on what's going on with some of the projects, costs that are involved. I just think you need to know what's going on, and I want to make sure that you've got information on the projects that are out there floating around. These are things that have been ongoing well before this term of this administration, but I'm just not sure how much you've been kept in the loop in the past. I want to make sure that you know what we're working on, what's out there, what the costs are, and what the future might look like going forward with those. So I've asked them to set aside some time for us to just let them give a good overview to you. You ask questions of what's happening there. Again, and especially in light of the budget, because all that costs money, and engineering costs are very expensive, and we want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Particular time of day.
Well, I was thinking Monday or Tuesday.
I have a standing meeting on Mondays, on fourth Mondays, and I think that's on fourth Monday.
All right, is Tuesday better for you all?
Tuesday's fine for me.
I'm good on Tuesday.
Tuesday?
6
Well,
o'clock.
I'm on spring break, I won't be in town, but that's fine. I call it.
Councilman Bearden, might need to hear from him too.
Yeah, he'll be here a little later. All right, so I just want to get your input on that. If we have that, Ron, do you think you can videotape it? Okay. All right, so that way, John, you can see it.
Yeah, okay.
See the video.
Can we get an email? I know we're going by the fly, but can we get an email with a response? I mean, so we can send you a response whether or not we're available or not?
Okay, are you, yeah, well, I mean, I thought you just told me you were.
I did.
Okay.
But I'm saying as far as all of us.
Yeah, we'll send it out once we confirm, but I just need to know so I can talk to them. John is not, but if the rest of you are, then I'll try to see if Sane is available, and if not, I'll send you emails and we'll try to pick a time. But it's good. I actually have that, and I might have one other, item on there for, just a development update from a specific developer. I don't want to say too much about that until I know if they're going to be able to be available. I would expect it will go a total of about an hour and a half. And Dave, did you want to add anything to that?
Since we're gonna have the city engineers handy, I would definitely like to go ahead and revisit the quiet zone conversation.
Okay, I think that'd be good because they're.
Since we'll have everybody in the room.
So we will try to get, since we're gonna have Sane here, that's good, they can give updates on that, quiet zone, and possibly one other topic. I'll let you know that when I confirm with everybody, so, all right?
Could we get-
Um,
Go ahead.
So Tuesday so far, what is your preference on time in the evening? 5:30, 6 o'clock? What works for you?
6 o'clock, just for convenience. I mean, could everybody get here at 5:30? I know I usually can on a Tuesday, but I don't want anybody.
I can.
I don't want anybody
You
to
say you can't?
I
You
can.
can.
Yeah, 12.
Okay. So let's,
Sorry, Joe, you good?
Yes, I'm good at 5:30.
Okay.
okay, let's call it 5:30.
Right, I will, again, I'll try to, we're trying to put different people together here, so I will confirm with you once I get that narrowed down to everybody. Okay? I think that'll be helpful for you, informative, no action, of course, just updates on this project.
Just one quick question as far as engineering contract, is where we are on that, James, as far as the, is that up?
Are you talking
Engineering
about the
contract,
on-call contract or the contract for the Grantsville Horse project? They got three of them. They got one on Mercedes, they got one on Grantsville, and one on on-call.
On-call.
No, the on-call was, I guess, renewed when the budget was renewed. You all haven't passed a resolution on the contract, so I would say.
Right.
But the amount has been,
The same.
well, 75,000 has been put in the budget for that particular line item.
Okay, I guess what I'm referring to is the council voting on the contract.
You have not approved the on-call.
That's what I was talking about.
That being said, we should go ahead and roll into our pre-council meeting. I think you've got